we've launched Clutch. We didn't expect it to have that big of a reception. So we just kind of put it out and recorded a video and then thought over the next few weeks, we will make some training. But that's proved very difficult because every time I start to record more training, it turns out that I don't understand exactly where people who are purely WordPress creatives are coming from. The rabbit hole goes very deep. So I figured that what we could do today is whoever else wants to join can join, but we'll have people representing the WordPress community on this call, able to ask questions. I think we're going to do a little bit of a live build with Carson, and we're going to go through this thing from the top. But it was great because Frank had joined and he was kind of describing a little bit about what he saw in Clutch and what he's looking for. I don't know, Frank, if you want to share a little bit about that, that'd be good.
Yeah, I've just I seen the demos for Clutch, and I knew I seen something special in it. There's a lot of tools and a lot of fine tuning that can be done coming from a WordPress perspective. My hopes for this tool, and I jumped into the limited time, the lifetime deal immediately because there's a lot going on here.
Thank you.
My hopes to get out of this tool is to be able to dive deeper into my WordPress development, but having a more efficient and cohesive flow, and build sites, of course, that are more, respond faster, take less resources, and, just the evolution of where things are going, because things are rapidly changing. What was relevant yesterday may not be relevant tomorrow. So, what I'm hoping to get out of Clutch is something that clicks, it makes sense, and it fits into the entire ecosystem of building out my WordPress sites.
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly our goal. It's kind of helping the whole WordPress community transition into the future that, to be honest, over the past 4 to 5 years, people who are not in the ecosystem are already living in. Everybody else has gone composable. They've gone headless. They're using things like Next.js. They're getting these amazing performance scores. And WordPress has this amazing operating system of a backend where anything is possible, but it's the front end side that really plagues everybody. Nobody's complaining that WordPress is a backend, can't do things, or is incapable. It could do everything that every other CMS can do, plus a lot more. In fact, Carson was showing me just the other day how he is composing AI workflows using a drag and drop, builder inside the WordPress backend. It was amazing. So WordPress is this insane operating system. Content operating system is what they should call it, not content management system. But the front end has just finally, its age has finally caught up with it. Everybody else is using React and using all these amazing front end tools. And then they put React now on the edge where it's blazing fast and it doesn't have issues with caching. So we looked at this and we said, there's this massive opportunity. In fact, we were going to launch Clutch. We said, who should we help first? The first version of Clutch, we actually built it for Shopify. And we got the whole thing working. And we were about to launch it. And I was like, you know what? The Shopify community already has a bunch of different visual builders for it. And they already have a bunch of people building headless. It's the WordPress community that is 50 times the size. And nobody's working on this. So we made a last minute call, pivoted, spent 3 weeks building a connection and launched it. And the reception has been huge. But I'm hoping we can cover all that today. So thanks, Frank. Thank you for being here. And I know we have another person who's joined, and if anybody wants to jump in, go for it. But I think it's time to have Carson kind of take over. And maybe Carson, you can tell us, Carson's my brother-in-law, by the way. We're both here in Schumann from Texas. And he is kind of the one that inspired me to make the pivot last moment towards WordPress, because we were talking a lot. He was showing me all this cool stuff that he's doing with his company, Word Studio, where he makes these AI tools completely in WordPress. And then he also builds WordPress sites for his customers. And he also does a bunch of video work. So he's kind of a man of many talents. And it's actually perfect because Clutch could open all that up and let him do way more rather than using this gigantic Swiss Army knife that is WordPress the way he uses it today, where it's not a good knife and it's not really a good, fork, and it's not really a good toothpick. If we could start splitting that apart, we could actually give him a fantastic visual builder front end and a fantastic CMS. So Carson, do you want to take over from here?
Yeah, that's a good intro. I've been working with WordPress for a very long time. From the time I worked from Joomla, I'm not a coder. I click buttons and make things happen through interfaces, and that's about as far as my desire to learn ends up going. But anyway, I guess I wanted to sort of share my screen, show from scratch how I'm working my way through Clutch to learn it. Elementor has been my roll dog for many years now, and it was my big aha moment when it came to like customizing the front end in WordPress, and it's been a dream, but I know that there are better tools out there, and Clutch appears to be a lot more granular, and I'm looking for some of that granularity and ability to sort of snap other things that aren't WordPress supported into the websites that I make. So let me go ahead and share my whole screen. I'm going to share my entire screen here. Hopefully it's not too, I'm going to make Clutch big. I have also, just to, everybody hear me okay?
Maybe it'd be nice. Yeah, we can. And maybe it might be nice to even, if we're going to build something, maybe you could show us something that's built in Elementor. Just quickly say, here's my setup.
All right. Let me just pull something up over here. I'll pull up my website for my video production company, which has been my primary deal. So this is a really cool, let me log in real quick. This is a really cool example using advanced custom fields in Elementor. I'm logging in, and I'll show you kind of what I set up, trying to stretch my WordPress website to be as SEO friendly, organized, semantically correct across the board. And so this is the homepage, right? Got a bunch of cool Elementor widgets and things like carousels and video embeds and all of these things. Everything's nice and responsive. The back end, gonna back up real quick. I will show you this. So I have things like articles, which is your basic WordPress blog feed with a custom article template. And when you go into these articles, these are custom individual page templates calling the WordPress content right here in the middle. And all of this is custom. Also, and this is where it starts to get interesting, the portfolio page is its own custom post type. And I've also created special fields, custom fields, as well as custom taxonomies. So when you click these ads and promos and documentary, let's say you go into one, you're greeted with a single page, as the WordPress Elementor would call it. And then I also have these industry, type, and client. Well, client's not a custom post type. Industry and type are custom taxonomies assigned to my portfolio post type. So that way, when I click on agriculture, I see all of my agriculture related videos with another filter.
Okay, so it's safe to say you go deep with ACF.
There you go.
Because I think we're kind of through that. So you use Yoast, you're using ACF. We're kind of looking for
ACF. And so
okay.
Yes. I don't know if we want to jump into that.
No, that's okay. So you're using Yoast, you're using ACF, and your whole site's basically built with tons of custom post types. I guess not much use of Gutenberg on that one. It's all fielded out.
Yeah, not much use of Gutenberg, just in the blog entries and portfolio.
Okay, perfect. So that would be where Carson's coming from. I think that's important because that's where I think a lot of people are coming from. They're either using this or some other custom post type and field plugin, because there are others out there besides ACF. and they're using Yoast or some other SEO plugin. And now they're coming into Clutch and they're going, what the heck is this thing? Because it does not work like any other theme builder. And that's because Clutch turns your website, it cuts the head off of it. So all of a sudden your theming panel disappears, your ability to edit the front end of your website from your back end disappears, and Clutch becomes the way that you edit your front end. So maybe we can get into that. And what questions do you have there? And maybe we can start building a site.
I'm ready to build.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to go to new project over here in Clutch. I'm going to make my project. So, oh shoot. So I already have one called rolled video. I was going to make another demo.
You can delete test. I don't even give for everybody, I had to even give my brother-in-law a lifetime deal. No nepotism.
Well, my question is, I'm going to call it roll video V2. Is that okay? Because I'm going to make a new version of it.
Is it going to let you?
Let me see.
I guess it will. Cool. Never mind. We used to have a paywall there if you wanted to create more than 2 projects, but I guess we removed that to be nice to everybody.
All right, so here's my blank Clutch site. Okay. This is my instinct. And I luckily I saw you for 5 minutes play with this and I was able to pick up a couple of things, but I haven't watched a lot of things. So I love that. So right now I'm greeted with the site and it looks like a home page right up here. I am going to make my first plan of action is to get a header on here and get it going to make a home page, right? So I'm going to use the simplest way, I guess. A little trick, I guess I think I'm doing this correctly, but I'm going to create a layout first because I want this homepage I want the header, the menu to show across the whole website, or at least the chunks of the website that I want.
So let's not do that. And that's part of this video is you're going to do what you would almost do, what you would think naturally. I'm going to tell you that it already ships with the layout. So you should just use the layout that you already have there called site.
Okay, so if I use site,
there's nothing that
I'm going to use site because I just thought that I might wrap it in another layout depending on whatever. But let's just say I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to go to. This was a bit. After experimenting, I figured out what some of these things do. But so if I go to what happened to? Oh, here we are. So we have some
sections.
We have some sections that I assume are basically section templates. This is where we have pre-made section templates, right? So I like this, and I'm going to click it. That didn't work. Okay, it did work. I didn't know if I had to drag, but I click. I can also drag, I learned, but that's beside the point. So from here, so it looks like I have a site layout, I have a header, and I can add a section here, but I want this. So now I'm going to go ahead and just add another section, right? Just to my home page. This is now, I'm editing my home page. All right. So insert section. I'm going to do a hero. And I'm going to I like this one. Maybe I'll do the email sign up hero. So I'm assuming, so this was already my first challenge. Why did it go above the header that I just installed? That seems to be inside of site. So I toggle this, I see my nav bar. I toggle this, I see my balanced hero. But my nav bar, to me, seems like it should be above this. But I didn't see this little thing, this little page, this gray page thing. I thought, oh, that's just telling me that I'm working on the page. But I actually was able, this is the page content, I understand, that is rendering this, whatever's inside of this will render inside of this. So I'm going to drag that thing up above it. So that way my header stays here. And then if I insert a blank page, now I have another page. I'm going to rename the page services or something. Now, if I click home, I see that, and I click services, I see nothing because I haven't dropped anything into the services page yet. But for now, I'm doing home. And then, just to kickstart this, imagine if I wanted to immediately show a grid of posts. Maybe I'm jumping ahead, but let's do it. So I'm in my homepage area. I am going to show a grid of posts. I'm going to go to sections, and I see that there's a post archive thing, which is very good. I thought they were
I did think it
gridded.
was an interesting. I think it was interesting pointed out. So use the site layout. I think that's a good thing to do. Don't add more layouts till you need them. And then the next thing that we saw is people might get confused over the concept of a layout itself. A layout is a folder of pages. One more thing that confuses people is they do not add to your path. They don't add to your page paths. They're just a folder you put pages in. And then if you stick stuff in a layout, it will apply to all of the pages in that folder. But your layout is like /blog, and then you create pages in it that come off of that path. Your layout has no path. It's just a way to provide shared layouts in pages. And I want to point out one more cool thing about layouts is that they don't reload. So as you're clicking around your website, just the pages within the layout actually reload, which makes your page faster and gives you even more performance. So as you click those links on the nav bar, only everything below the nav bar will actually reload as you click through pages. It's another neat feature. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell about layouts. And the main thing that Carson pointed out is wherever that little item is that says page, that's where that folder full of pages is going to actually render. So you can stick a header above page, stick your footer below page, and that's basically everything you need to know about layouts. One more thing that's cool about layouts is if you want to apply styles that only apply to that whole folder full of pages, you can do that on your layout. So for the site layout has one unique benefit to it, that it actually represents your body tag. So if you set a background color and a foreground color on site, it will apply to the whole entire site. And then if you go to layouts inside, they'll only apply to those layouts. So you could actually set a background color here to black, and then set your text color to white. And if you do that on your site layout, it will invert all the colors for your whole site. All right, so that's everything I could think to tell you about layouts. Any questions on that?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So say I had a situation where I have a dark homepage, but then my interior pages are light. So I want a different header background. I want it to be, maybe just change things up, a different header and footer on my interior pages. Would I create a secondary layout and then create a light nav in there, or how would that be handled?
You can use a layout. Do you only want the inside of the page? Hey, don't do that again, Carson. I saw you have you have taxes open back there. So be careful. Be careful with your desktop. You might want to remember to edit that out. But yes, you could do that on the layout. And the cool thing is but the layout acts kind of like a div. If you think about it, yeah, I would just share a window. But yeah, if you think about it, the layout's going to act just like a div. So if the layout's here and the header and footer are outside, and on the layout itself, you set a background color, it will only set on everything that's within that folder. So only the middle of the page or the sidebar or whatever you have as your layout will actually be those other colors. But if you do it on, the only one you have to know about is the one called site layout, the outermost one. If you set a background color on it, it's going to set it across the whole site because it's the outermost one. It represents your body tag. So it's the only one that's kind of special in that way.
Okay.
One more cool thing I want to do just to show off. Carson, can you go to your site layout? And I want you to set a background color and a foreground color. So go to your site layout. There. And go to your background color. And I want you to just set it to black, I guess. Yeah, you can do it that way. And then I want you to click I want you to set the foreground color to white, which will be your text
Foreground.
color, your typography color. Sorry. I know I'm saying background and foreground, but that's going to be your typography color.
Nice. So it just cascades across everything.
It just cascades in your inner layouts will too. So you can put an inner layout in this one and it'll just cascade through. That's just normal CSS doing this for you. But I want you to do one more thing for me. Can you go to your the green dot on color, and I want you to save that white color into a new CSS to a new token, new design token. So click that. In the top right corner, click the plus sign. Top right corner of this window. And then I want you to give that call that foreground. I wouldn't call it white because we're not going to make it white. This is going to be important. Call it like foreground or text color. I don't care.
Save token.
Yep, save token. And I want you to do the same thing to the background.
So it's what I currently have selected. And I'm going to go to plus, and I'm going to,
All right.
there it is. So it's like background, dark.
Don't put dark in it because it's going to be dark. We're about to do something. Just call it, give it a semantic name of what it represents only.
I made it a dark anyway. Let's see. Uh-oh.
That's okay. We can go rename it. We can rename it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Just click off. Abort mission. Okay.
All right.
Go to your tokens manager up next to insert. I think it's 2 to the left of your insert button up there. It's going to be all your tokens. You click on that. Yep. And in there, we see these two. And if you want to rename them in a minute, you can. But what I want you to do is where you see the text color, I want you to set the dark color to the opposite. Go to where it says dark. So it says text color and it says light dark. On the dark, I want you to set it to black. Because I want you to set the dark to the opposite. And then I want you to do the same on the other one as well.
So. Nice.
And now you have dark mode and light mode just like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's one thing that Elementor does not offer. It doesn't offer like at least at this point, as I know of, does not offer. Okay, that's cool.
So the last thing I want to show you there is if you create a layout. My daughter's mad at me. Hey, look, it's Uncle Carson. He's on the video here. The last thing I want to point out is that if you create a layout now, you can actually on the layout set that part of the layout to be in light mode or dark mode. So this is the last thing we'll go over here kind of on this, because this is kind of another way to achieve what Frank was looking for. So yeah, just create a blank layout. It'll ship with the page. Click on that layout, on the layout itself. And at the top of the layout, you should see a color mode where you can set the color mode state.
Where? Top of the layout.
Go to the style panel on the right and scroll to the top because you're going to scroll down a bit.
Oh, I see.
Scroll to the top with the layout selected, scroll to the very top. And there should be color scheme. And you can set your color scheme there. It's the very first style property. There it is, color scheme. And you can force that to dark, light, or system. Now you have to put stuff on your page because there's nothing on your page, but now any style tokens used on this page will either be forced to be light or forced to be dark, or those style tokens will be from the system. So just want to point that out. You have a lot of control over your light mode, your dark mode, and how all these tokens.
Very cool. Okay, thank you.
Now here's a question. I have a site, which is a layout. I guess we'll call it the master layout. Under that, and it has a header. And in fact, I wanted to do one little thing. I made the footer inside the home page, but I want it to be in the layout. So I'm going to drag that footer into site layout that I originally created. And it is now below the page content. So if I go to home, all that stuff, that should be intact. Services, yep, there's my footer and there's my heading. And then, but this layout, which was, I guess, is nested inside of this is like another layer of layout that would only show now on. So if I wanted to put like a custom header for only this group of pages, that's where I assume I do that. I put it inside.
That's correct.
Of a mat it's like wrapping new layouts inside of layouts inside of layouts.
Yeah, and that could be really good if you want to put like a sidebar next to a blog. You could float it to the right.
What is the significance?
You could have.
What's the significance of the ordering of these layouts? Like, I can put it there. I can put it here.
Nesting doll. No other significance. Only the nesting matters.
Okay.
And you can freely between any layout through the navigation system.
Sorry, could you repeat that
so
question?
you'll be able to freely navigate. So say I have link 1 that links to a page in the secondary layout. I'll be able to navigate from one layout to another layout and reverse back again.
Yes.
Do I need to update each header, or is that header going to be consistent? It's just the styles that are changing across layouts.
It's just the styles. The pages are in 100% control over what's actually happening as far as navigation goes. So layouts do not affect your navigation at all. They are purely there to help you share components across multiple pages.
Unless, of course, you want a different navigation on a different layout. I'm assuming you could do that as well.
That is true. Yes. So instead of putting the navigation in the site layout, you would put the navigation in some sort of inner layout. So you could make different sets of navigation in different layouts and even start nesting them.
All right, that's cool. That's having to click now.
It's a way to keep you from copying and pasting stuff across multiple pages, like a folder that sort of does that for you.
This is one of the
other benefit to it is that layouts don't reload. So that's another important thing. They actually have a performance benefit as well. Without layouts, you could create, say, a lot of systems have a shared component. Well, great, but every time you click a new page, the whole page is reloading, including the shared stuff in that model. And that hurts your performance. So one more reason why that's really important is because links in Clutch prefetch, which is something that you're also not going to get with your traditional WordPress. So whenever you actually put a link on a page, you actually were to open up your browser network requests and go to a page that's built in Clutch, you're going to see a bunch of prefetch calls firing off where your browser is going ahead and prefetching all the links that it sees. So that by the time you click the link, the page behind it feels instantaneous. Two things. One, prefetching. Two, it doesn't reload.
That's great. And that comes out of the box. You don't even have to tinker with that to get that feature to work. As it were in straight up WordPress, you'd have to go and find a tool or a plugin or something that allows you to set that to happen.
So,
well, it's on mute. Yeah, it's out of the box. Exactly.
So here we go. Because I've ran into, so if I did want to show a separate menu for a separate set of pages, I would need to create sort of a master layout under the site, then start and add that header to this layout. And then I have layout 2, which I'm going to hope is going to go right underneath that. And then layout 2 is going to have, so layout 1 has this, layout 2 has that. And then any page under layout 1 has this menu. The only difference is those links are aligned differently, but I can.
Exactly. A common thing to do is like you want to have like a terms of service and like privacy policy pages that don't have navigation on them. They just are full frame. Then what you would do is the site layout would not contain a header and a footer. You'd create inner layouts that do contain headers and footers. The options are limitless here, which is another thing we liked about this system, on top of the fact that they don't reload whenever you navigate between shared pages and all the prefetching benefits and everything else. But on top of that, a lot of these template builders only give you like one of these. They just say, hey, do you want to make this a common header and a common footer? And that's about all that you can do. We let you sort of nest these infinitely. One last trick that we use layouts for is if you create a layout and just don't stick anything inside of it, it also just gives you kind of a way to organize your pages. So sometimes we just use them like folders.
Oh, that's smart.
Here's a
And
question.
you can rename them too. You can just double click on them and you can give them a nicer name. So you can kind of like, this is my layout that I'm going to use for my shared nav, and this is the layout I'm going to use to change my theme or whatever. You can do that kind of thing. Yeah, what's your question?
I noticed that sometimes I do click, if I click too fast, I do have this sort of a loading situation. I've noticed I clicked on home. My links, this goes up here, but sometimes it just doesn't show the content immediately. You got to kind of like wait. So that's just something to think about.
Yeah, we're working on making Clutch faster for sure. It's running a lot of dev tools under the hood. Also, we have noticed whenever you're live streaming or streaming and stuff, it does slow it down.
Okay.
Because it is kind of resource intensive. But yes, that is true. In general, if you do something in the tool and you don't see it immediately, some operations do take a minute. Just give it a second and it'll probably happen. And as we come out of beta, it'll get faster.
Oh yeah, I don't want to set the layout to dark. I want to set the layout. Anyway, I don't know. Should we move on? Because I was just going to build a
Yeah,
page.
let's move on.
Okay. So let's just say I made are we going to get into WordPress because we want to?
Yeah, you want to get it connected and get some data flow in here?
I'm going to stick a feed on my homepage. I just want to have my latest articles listed in a grid on my homepage. And I have not connected anything yet. I do have, I have set up a fresh WordPress install in WP Engine for this role.video domain. And I want this to connect to that. So here I go. I'm going to take the easy way and insert a section called Post Archive. They used to look gridded on these previews. I don't know why.
They are. We have the
Here it goes.
previews aren't working,
Yeah,
but they are gridded whenever they show up.
So this
Okay,
cool
so the
layout
first thing, so the first thing I want to point out is that you have to think about what does my whole page represent, and then do I need to pull in data, specific pieces of data that aren't a part of that onto the page? So for example, this looks like this is a home page. So the whole page could be connected to pull a page, pull data from a page. But then on this, you want to embed this specific archive of data. And you can do that in Clutch. To do just that part, we would want to wrap this whole post archive area that you just inserted. We'd want to wrap it into data. So you can do that by holding Shift, which turns in wrap mode. And then you could click those disks. They're right above there on that little quick strip of icons all the way to the right. Hold Shift and click the disks.
wrap in
And they'll be
data.
wrapping data. You also hit Shift D in the future, which stands for D for data.
Wrap in data.
And then now what happens, you have your data and all that stuff is in the children slot of that data. And what we're going to do, what we need to do is tell Clutch what data that you want. So we'll do that on the right where it says new query. We're going to click that and we're going to find the query that makes the most sense for pulling our post archive. If you could do that, go to the right and click on new query. And then look through this WordPress library list for the one that would make the most sense. Probably one of those in there is like a get posts or get archive or something like that. It's going to definitely be in the WordPress library. Yeah, definitely down here.
But okay. So this in this case would be get posts, I believe. because I want to
Go through
show
them all,
a
make
grid.
sure there's. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I want to make each one of these represent a post in chronological form. So I imagine it would be this.
Okay, go ahead. Like that. And then you'll see all the options that we have here. So you could, now here's the issue. We haven't actually connected to WordPress. So we need to
Right.
close this actually
Okay.
and go do that connection or else these won't work. So
How do I?
to do this, to do that, you're going to click where it says WordPress and you got that red dot. Yep. And we need to paste your WordPress URL in here.
The whole thing.
Just the HTTPS part and the domain name. Yeah, just the root. That's missing the .com and a bunch of other things.
No, that's the full
It's a
domain.
video domain.
Oh, roll.video. Sorry, I couldn't see it. Okay, and you need to get the you're gonna need to get the plugin installed there.
Yeah. I have that. Okay, I'm getting it. It's going to be installed shortly.
Will it detect if that plugin's
Yeah.
installed in the domain you're trying to add?
Yes, that red dot will turn green.
So all you need to do is install the plugin and activate it.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you install our Clutch plugin and then you give us the URL and you hit connect, those two things make a connection. You get a green dot, and then all of the queries and things on the pages will start to work. So while Carson's installing this plugin, which you'll install from a zip file, you'll have two things. You will have page queries. So you can actually click on the page itself and you can set a query that way. And that's how you'll set up, like, this is my homepage. So I want all the data for my homepage to show up here. Or this page is going to represent any article post type, custom post type of a type. And it can take over those. It's kind of very similar to how you do it in Elementor or the tools where you say, this is what this template represents. So that's how you do it at the page level. But then within a page, you might want to just say, you know what, on this part of the page, of my home page, I want to pull my post archive. And so to do that, you'll insert the data components onto the screen and connect them that way. So you have a lot of flexibility for how you can fetch data.
Right. You might have featured articles that you just want to show on your home page. And so I'm assuming in the query manager, you'll just select featured.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's like, what does my page represent? That's the whole thing. But you know what? I want to pull these little tidbits from different places. Now you can just insert as many more queries onto the screen as you want. And they don't have to be coming from the whole page. So you can mix and match. You could even do it in the layout if you wanted, for example.
Okay.
All right. So we see the clutch guy there. So we know that we're good. So let's go back to Clutch and maybe click the edit button and then click connect again.
There's no settings in the Clutch plugin. It's just activate it and that's it.
Correct. So did you click connect again on that? And it's still red? Click on the right. Okay, try just refreshing because we should have just done that from the beginning. Hit Command Shift R. Let's see if when in doubt while we're in beta, by the way, if something's not working how it should, Command Shift R should fix you up.
Fair enough.
That's weird that it didn't
delete that out.
Okay, I'm going to delete it out and then start over. Oh.
Yeah, because it should be working. I don't know why it's not.
I'm just going to make it a wrong
Delete
thing.
the / off the end of it, maybe. All right, and we're sure that domain is publicly accessible.
Yeah.
And let's go back to it really quick and look at the it's HTTPS here. Do this for me. Usually there is a Go up to the top, click on Clutch, go to the top into the develop menu, and there should be a button to clear cache. Develop menu all the way up to the top, and then hit purge project cache. Because I'm afraid that we might have cached something whenever that ran. Or let me go see. Is this on
WP Engine?
Is this on WP Engine?
Is there any possibility that a previous project is interfering, like the last project I tried to connect with? No. Says it's loading.
Hit Command Shift R and refresh this.
Okay.
I haven't seen this before. It always works. I know we had the Clutch plugin turned on. Let me see if I can get. And can you delete that /? Hit connect. Yeah, it leaves it in there. Let me see if I can get Bruno in here.
Are you behind
Is
behind Cloudflare or?
Cloudflare, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I bet
maybe
you
it
that's
gets
it.
blocked.
That's interesting. Go to Cloudflare and clear your cache.
Okay. In the process.
But this is good. I guess this is something we need to look out for. Because if you are behind, because you shouldn't be, once you use Clutch, you should not be using Cloudflare because of this exact type of thing. And Clutch is its own CDN.
All right. So here, I'm going to go to.
Doesn't Cloudflare point to an internal IP address or an internal domain that represents this website?
Cloudflare is set to just handle my DNS. And
I know, but
sends
isn't it C?
to
Doesn't
WP
it
Engine.
CNAME? Yeah, doesn't it give you like an internal WP Engine URL and then Cloudflare sort of like connects to that?
It does.
Yeah,
Yes.
use that one in here so you don't go through Cloudflare.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to WP Engine. I'm going to go to use that one. So what you're saying here is to use in WP Engine, just use their default or something?
No, I'm saying we needed to get Cloudflare out of the mix. Cloudflare is going to just muck everything up because we're trying to use WordPress as an API, and Cloudflare is just going to cache everything. It's acting like you haven't even installed the Clutch plugin. So we need to take Cloudflare out of the mix.
Okay. I'm going to go to my, and I'm going to WP Engine, and I'm going to reset my DNS, but my name is pointed to Cloudflare, so I'm going to have to do that as well. Maybe I'll just install a new one in the meantime. How to
Do you have WAF settings on Cloudflare? Like blocking specific requests?
No, what I'm saying is, what is Cloudflare doesn't just magically become everything. It's got to be pointing to Cloudflare. Has to be pointing to something on WP Engine. What is that it's pointing to?
rollvideo.wpengine.com is the C name.
What, does it point to an IP address? Is it an A record or a C name?
It's a C name. Or I have an A record.
What's the C name to?
rollvideo.wpengine.com.
That's what we need. Go to rollvideo.wpengine.com in your browser. Doesn't that actually load a site?
No. But that is what the C name points to.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure that this is an issue with Cloudflare's.
Can I point to a dev version of they have different environments in WP Engine.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
one happens
we
to
need
be
to make sure that
live.
you can access it. We need to make sure that you can access it for sure.
Okay, I'm going to make a new environment under roll video in my WP Engine, and it's going to just be my development environment. And maybe I'll just copy this one to that one, save some time. 1 second.
I guess it's good that we're seeing this because a lot of people are going to have this Cloudflare setup going on, and Cloudflare basically is going to make it to where your REST API does not work very well because rather than being able to access the API, you're hitting Cloudflare, which is then hitting the API, and it's going to be caching requests, which we do not want. Hey, we're green. Interesting.
Weird. If I go back to if I go here though, it's not.
I bet you it's because Cloudflare finally cleared, the cache finally expired. No, we don't want that. That's going to be annoying because you're going to make an update to your, and you're going to hit save, and then, Cloudflare's got a time to live of like 5 or 10 minutes. You don't want that. You want to be able to hit save and see the change immediately. So I think that going ahead and getting off of Cloudflare for this demo would be better.
All right, I'm copying the same site setup with the Clutch plugin into a new environment called, and I'm about to copy it here, see if it works. It's not quite done yet, but it's going to be under here. I believe I don't. WP Engine also adds passwords to these staging environments. I'll have to turn that on. Something changed, but it's still 404. All right, well, I'm going to wait for that to finish. And okay, looks like it might be working. So maybe. Okay, we're connected. Oh, no.
All right, so did you get the new site booted up?
Yes, it is here. Here's the name. I'm going to go to...
And is the plugin, the new version of the Clutch plugins installed there?
I believe it was from a couple days ago.
We should make sure we got the newest version and make sure that that's installed, just in case.
Day 205. Okay. And then I'm going to go to internet's slow. Staging site's also super slow on WP Engine. All right. Medium plugins.
Yeah, it doesn't look like clutch is installed. So that's why I'm saying it's probably not going to give us a green dot. We need to install it here.
Okay. I'm going to install it. Whatever. I was clicking too fast. Oh, plugins. Installing clutch. Activating clutch. Clutch is activated. Go ahead and deactivate that.
I think we should be good to go. We're not going through Cloudflare this time. And we might need to do the clear cache or reload here since we tried connecting and it wasn't there. That's something that definitely make sure that the developers watch. Hit Command Shift R here. Let's see if we can get to a green dot. And if we can't, we might have to help you debug something here because I mean we use WP Engine a lot. It usually works for us, so this is really curious to me. With the edit button. And this is the URL that does work.
We're connected.
There it goes. All right. All right. So now we should be able to go to the data here on get posts. Click on that. The query to the right. There. Click on queries. Get posts. And if we drop down the type, it should give you your post types.
There it is. Posts.
So we're a little detour, but that's good because in this, other people might hit this in the video. We basically just saw.
Don't use Cloudflare as the.
Yeah, well, I mean, you shouldn't be using Cloudflare. It's redundant, and it's going to create a lag between the stuff. So, all right, and what do we want? We want your posts, or what kind of things do we want here?
Yeah, let's put posts. Most simple option. I don't have. Let me just make sure I have some posts. All right, cool. So here's a post I made. 2 posts that are already in there.
Okay, let's go back to the left because it's red. It's giving some sort of error here. So let's go see what this error is. If you could hover your mouse over that little arrow icon on the left-hand side, just hover it over the icon left of that.
Instance is passing data to children.
No, that's the wrong left of that icon. There's another icon to the left. The one that.
Doc type is not valid JSON.
Okay. Do a refresh one more time. Okay. It's acting like WordPress is the API is not sending it proper data. Interesting. Do we have a different one other than get posts here? That might work. I mean, this usually works for us. I'm actually curious.
I trashed this one.
You trash it?
I can't change it.
Let's try it again. Trash it.
Get pages.
Get posts, get pages, get tags. Uh-oh, do we lose you? Oh,
Get
there's
pages.
back. Okay. I'm guessing that it probably is get posts.
Try it again. Pages.
It worked that. Pages works, so it's just posts that it doesn't want to do. So media works.
All right. Do I have pages? Let's see.
Yeah, we could do pages. Okay, so we'll have to turn in a bug report there. Something it doesn't like. It doesn't like that. You do have pages here. You have an about page and privacy policy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could you've got all these options here for ordering them or whatever, but I guess we really don't need to worry about that right now. You've got 2 pages in here. Is that correct? So
I do.
what we can do is let's click on one of the items inside, like where you have the image. Okay, and try to get the thing, like the whole thing is called postcard. I think that's the whole item. So in your tree, click on postcard. And what we'll want to do is wrap that in a loop because we're going to loop that one. So to do that again, you'll hit Shift. For loop, the keyboard shortcut O, you can hit Shift O, or you can hold Shift and click the loop just to the left of the data.
Oops.
You did 2 of them, 3 of them?
I don't know. So I selected postcard. And
did you click it or did you shift click it? Because if you didn't shift click it, it's just going to insert them after.
Shift, and O? Did you say?
Yeah, O for loop, or you can click the icon. You should be holding shift or you're going to insert. You're either in insert mode or if you hold shift, you're
Click the wrap and data icon.
No, click the loop. You're going to insert a loop. Yeah, hold shift and click that.
Wrap in loop. Okay, first I've heard of this. Okay, wrap in. So click that.
Yeah, we did it earlier with data. Hold shift does a wrap, or otherwise you're going to insert. Yeah, click that, wrap it in a loop, where you hit shift though.
So it's wrapped in the loop.
And you're going to start making me question WordPress folks here. I'm just saying that because you're my brother-in-law.
Hey, you need to be. You're going to have to be crystal clear here, bro. All right. So.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. So what that just now did is it wrapped that postcard there in a loop, so they can loop over it, which is what we're going to need. And what you can do now that's kind of cool is why don't you twirl this loop shut? So twirl the loop shut so that everything inside of it collapses. And let's go delete all the other postcards because we don't need them. And select all these postcards here at the end. And you can multi-select even.
You must be delayed. I just did.
Oh, yeah, I think I am delayed. Okay. Now what we're going to do is our loop has 3 items on it, which is why it actually is showing 3 of that postcard. But there's only 1 postcard now instead of that loop. And that's just a cool way to be able to visualize.
I think there might be another.
Empty.
Is this loop supposed to be here?
No, that's whenever you inserted multiple. Just delete that one. All right. You know, that top loop just has 3 items in it. If you actually go up to the right where it says edit 3 items and you add more, it'll make more. So you can kind of see how the loop works. Just hit add item and you'll see a 4th one show up. Don't worry about what it says. We're not using the data, but you can see how that works. You stick 1 item inside the loop and it loops over it. And, but what we want to do is we actually want to pass dynamic data to the loop so that the loop can pass one at a time to the items. And that's kind of how this works to get it all in there. So let's go to our loop, and where it says items, let's open up the bind menu, which is the lightning, where it says items. Go to your loop. Yeah, probably delayed. Once you have the bind menu open, let me know. It's the lightning. It's the green icon.
Do you see?
Yes. All right. Now in there you have get posts. if you twirl that open, it should have your posts in it. And it's acting like you only have one, I think. But anyways, you can click that get posts. How many posts do you have?
We're connected pages, and I have 2 pages.
Where do we have that? Data. Actually, it says on our data that we're connected to get posts right now. If we go back, click on your data.
One of his pages is in draft mode.
Oh, that might be what it is. All right.
Okay, I'll see if that changes anything.
You might need to, you might hit refresh up top
Really?
to get that to pull through. Yeah.
Okay.
But regardless, yeah, you can, well, that'll work. Then we'll go check and see if it should loop through twice, if that actually worked.
Post list.
Go to, click the WordPress icon. Click the WordPress icon where it's got the WordPress and the green dot. And then click clear cache there. Click the button. Now hit, don't refresh the whole thing. Just hit the little refresh loop that's next to the URL bar. Yeah. There we go. All right. Now it's got them both. So we need to work on making that, of course, more automatic for you, so you don't have to do that. So if you go edit something, it'll show up immediately, but we can go get that fixed. Okay. Now what you have is a loop that's looping over the data that's being pulled in. And so now the last thing we need to do is go bind these things on the screen to the loop. So click on one of the titles, like where it says blog title heading will go here. Just click on that one and remind you, they're both the same thing. Now we're going to bind this, go to the bind menu.
Bind menu. Where's the bind menu?
It's in the green dot, the electricity, where you get the dynamism.
Or text.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then we want to go to our loop and twirl open loop item.
Aha, title.
And then in here, we have access to the post, and you go to title,
even,
click it,
even
and both of them should become bound.
That's cool. It shows the preview. Privacy policy about.
And look, there you go. There's your privacy policy and about. And so I know that took us a long time, but obviously part of that was a Cloudflare issue. And part of this, look, you learn this once and it's not very hard afterwards.
Absolutely. You know, it's not that different from Elementor. You just map in your fields.
At this point, yes, you're mapping your fields. Now, what he just did is kind of an interesting one. We're working on a thing here. What happens is that you just bound rich text. So what we need to do is turn that paragraphs tag into a rich text. We're going to end up making a change here to make this easier. But so that it actually renders that HTML content, can you insert from your insert menu, which you can get to, by the way, by hitting the I key on your keyboard. I'll give you some shortcuts here. Hit the I key on your keyboard and then type in the word rich. You can hit I and then type in rich. And then hit enter. Or you can click. That works. All right. Now what we should do is we should bind this one to the rich text, to the Gutenberg block. Gutenberg is rich text. If you bind this one to that block, it'll actually render paragraph tags rather than.
I actually bound the excerpt. I bound the excerpt, but that's okay.
That's okay. It's still the excerpt's coming from Gutenberg, so it's coming from rich text, meaning that it has HTML content mixed into it.
There it worked.
Yeah, you can.
And then I delete that.
Exactly. I mean, you kind of just did like one of the hardest things, which is you're not doing it off of the page. You inserted your own little data connector, and then you looped over the content. Like once you kind of understand this sort of starts to unlock a lot.
It does. So because we bound a rich text, if we were to put an icon or an image file or whatever might have been in there, some bold, whatever might have been in that rich text in our actual blog post, this is the field that we would need to use, the rich text field, as opposed to what comes straight out of the loop grid that you have pre-made.
Exactly. So we give you pre-made stuff, and you can. But what we have, you might want to swap out with different elements or do different
Oh,
things.
that's perfect.
But rich text, we're actually talking about this as a team, and we have an idea for how we can make it to where everything's just text, and we sort of detect the fact that you have rich text, and I handle that for you. Well, for right now, definitely use a rich text if the content contains rich text. What we're working on that's even better than that is we're working to where you can create components in Clutch and then synchronize them as Gutenberg blocks. So you will be able to basically create custom Gutenberg blocks for your customers. And whenever your customers go into Gutenberg and they hit plus, they will look all nice however you design them. So that's coming as well.
Where do you find date?
All right, so we got date. Is it not in there anywhere?
Title, content,
Author.
ID.
If it's not in there, then it's probably just something that we need to pull. So I'll just open an issue for that.
How does this come? How do you?
Wait, you know what?
Wait.
We're pulling pages. Remember, we're pulling pages. I don't think pages.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Maybe.
Wonder if I could. Can I? What if I went and if I written like change this postcard? Say I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to bind posts instead of pages. It's obviously going to get rid of all of my data connections. But yeah, I guess that if I did it afterwards, I just have to redo it. And if I switch back, I wonder if it retains.
If the binds are named the same thing, they'll still work.
Okay.
But if they have different names, then they won't. So like title will probably still work because they both have a thing called title. But if they don't, they'll just kind of turn red, and then you'll just go fix them. It's not a big deal.
And I'm going to try to see if I could switch back. Maybe something changed.
To see if we can get posts working.
Yeah, so I'd go back to post. Hold on. Data. And then I changed from get posts pages to posts. We're there. All right, cool.
Okay.
It worked. So
it worked.
now I should be able to do now I should be able to do a category posts. Wait, what? You know what? I think WP. Oh no, this is my main. Sorry, this is. I need to go to my other environment. What the? Staging. I was logged into the wrong. All right. Now I'm going to go to my posts, and I'm going to go ahead and say this one. Create category. Test. Add new. I'm going to go to my posts. I'm going to quick edit this, change it to test. Might as well make that both. And I'm going to say quick edit, and I'll make this just test. Update. All right. So now we have two categories. I know it doesn't, so I can just refresh up here and possibly get my data back, my data refreshed. So I'm going to go to category. I'm going to go to my category text placeholder, and I'm going to go to item and see categories here, and I see 0. So that, okay, I guess.
Well, technically you can have more than one category, right?
Yeah. Technically.
So you should probably put a loop here and do the same thing. Because if you bind it to 0, it's always going to pull the first category, which if that's what you want to do, then you can. But if you want to make it to where you can, like on one of these, put it in 2 categories.
I did.
And then that way we can. Okay, you did? Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to take this category, and why don't you hit Shift O or hold Shift and loop it. I don't care how you do it, but you need to wrap this in a loop. Okay. And then That's going to cause it to be repeated 3 times by default, but don't worry about it. Under loop, bind that. None of this matters. This is just dummy. Under loop, I need you to bind the items to the data. It's going to be the same process. You got to go to your loop and bind to the data. You got to repeat the same process.
I know you're delayed.
You're under text right now.
Oh. Loop. Is that right here?
Yes.
So I have
You
the
need to
loop
bind
that
that.
is wrapped. That's wrapping the excerpt, and I'm going to bind it to
The other loop, go in there. And then you're going to bind that to the categories.
I don't know how it knew that.
Okay. Well, now that should work, right? Do either one of these have more than one category? Because right now that.
Yes.
Okay. Go to your excerpt now. And you're going to bind this to that one's loops category. It might be the second loop down. No, it was the top one. Then what are these? You want like a
Taxonomy
name?
category.
Name?
Name. No, I
Is
wanted
it
it to be
taxonomy? I don't
there's
know.
a category. These are.
Is that what the word taxonomy is?
Taxon? I mean, I would consider category as a type of taxonomy. But comparing, so these two are.
But I think it's getting. I think it's uncategorized. I think that it's correct. Go back. It's the name uncategorized. Click the name. Click on the word name. That's what you're looking for.
Okay.
Go bind it. Click on the loop. And then if you look at it, names uncategorized. That's the name of the category that you have on it. Click it. They're both uncategorized because I think you need to, I think you updated it. So go up and clear the cache off of it. This is something that we need to fix so that the cache flows through because there's something going on with that. But go up to the top where the WordPress logo is. Click that, click clear. And then now refresh it. See if it comes through with the ones that have 2 on them.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's all that it was. So if you think about it this way, you got a loop that's looping over the 2 articles, and then you've got a loop inside of that per article loops over the 2 categories.
That's good thinking ahead. So you can show. If I wanted to comma separate these things horizontally.
If you want to horizontally do them, what I would recommend is putting wrap the loop in a row. So click on the loop itself. Now hold shift and hit the R key for row.
Okay, that sort of works.
And now on the row itself, put a gap on it on the style link. So you add a flex gap to that, and that will go ahead and space them apart.
You mean like a margin right?
You could do a margin right, but I wouldn't recommend that. A gap would be better. A margin right's going to add a margin right to both of them, but a gap will only add space between them. So your gap is going to be.
I've never heard the term gap.
Yeah, gap.
That's
You know,
So 10 pixels?
welcome to the freedom of CSS. You can use 10 pixels, but if you want to go super pro mode, click the binding menu and actually add a rem based gap. That way, if people have accessibility issues and they scale up their font, it'll scale up the gap too. And I'd recommend going you can see the pixel values there on the right as helpers. So if you want a 10 pixel gap, it'd be about 2.5. But that's adding a rem based gap.
And then if I want to add a comma, I just do
The comma is going to be a little bit fun because we're sitting here looping over and kind of spacing these out. There's a few different ways to achieve that. I'm just trying to think about the best way to do it. Because if we put a comma in the loop, it's going to end up giving us 2 of them. And so if we could do that and loop it that way. Another way that we could have done this would be to have instead of used a loop, we could have combined these things.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, let's just space these and we'll come back to that so we can kind of keep going here.
Still looking for date.
Okay, that might just be missing from our query.
Okay.
And so we'll make sure that we get that added in there.
Let me try one more thing real quick. So I'm playing around and I'm like, okay. And then I go over here. I'm going to go ahead and add a featured image. And then I'm just going to clear the cache for safety purposes. And then I'm going to refresh and see if that shows up. Not yet. Did I publish?
Where should that show up?
Under, this is a featured image. Oh, I haven't bound it yet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's bind it.
Loop item.
And let's see. Yeah, it'd be a loop, featured image. We're looking for source URL. Yeah, should work.
Okay.
If the URL publicly accessible anyways.
Not featured media. Okay.
No, URL is correct. Oh, you did it on the alt. You did it on the alt tag. You need to do it on the source. Look, you bound your alt tag.
Oh. So then
Which is good to do. You should bind. You should
this like
unlink.
Unlink.
There it is.
And then take that out.
Yeah, do it on the source. Green dot.
Yep. Featured media. Source URL.
Source URL. And generally that has a alt tag and stuff. And there you go. Now the one on the right is now also kind of like bound to a URL that like doesn't exist. So go ahead and featured media on that, and then it'll show up.
Can I add a placeholder inside of Clutch? Like if nothing found, then show this.
The answer again is going to be yes, but I kind of want to keep the video rolling here. Your best bet would be to actually set featured medias on these. What we could do, I guess we can go through it. Here, what we'd have to do would be to we have an if statement if you want to go into that. So we could put an if block onto the screen. And then, so let's go do that, I guess.
We don't have to.
Wrap.
There's a lot of things we could try.
Well, I guess it's why we're here. So just insert, go to your insert menu and insert an if.
Where?
Just under the image that you have right there. Because what we're going to do is we're going to say if there's not an image, then we're going to put a placeholder. Yep. Okay, now on this if statement, you have a condition of true or false. We want to bind that true or false. So click on the the bind. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our loop item. Yeah. And we're going to go to where that featured media is. I think it's under. Oh, okay, so here's what we need to do. Go to functions.
Where's that?
Go back. No, you were there. No, you were there. Go back into binding. Go to binding. Go to functions. Right, up top right. And then, all right, so before you do anything, let's think about what we're doing here. We want to know if what we're looking for is truthy. So you can hit is truthy.
What does that mean for the rest of us?
Okay, truthy just means well, you can read, there's help on it, but it basically sees if the value that you're looking for is true or false. So the thing is, we're trying to say if the data coming out of WordPress is blank. Well, what does empty mean to you? Well, I would say that empty to me means false, means the word false. So truthiness, it checks to see if things should be true or should be false. So it just converts 0 is considered false, 1 is considered true. A string that contains anything, cat, dog, bear, a URL, all of those are considered true, but an empty string is considered false. So that's basically what you're doing here is we are trying to say, hey, if there is this condition, now we can wire up a really complex condition, or we can use this nice little truthy helper and just feed it the value, and it'll give us a true or a false based on whether or not it thinks it's truthy. Well, kind of a cool thing. All right, now on this, let's take that value there and click the top left corner of it, because we're going to bind it now to the loop, to the item, and we're going to bind that to the featured media, the source URL. Yep. And let me think about what that just did. So if it has one, it's going to be true. And if it doesn't have one, it's going to be false. So actually, my bad, we need to do the opposite of that, because we want it to be true when it's false. And yeah, hit unlink. Your math. Go to the value. Go to this value inside here. And hit unlink. Yeah. Go to the condition. Go to the green dot. Oh, I wish I had a way to write on your screen so bad. All right, go to functions. Functions tab on the right. Do we have is falsy? All right, and then that was just my bad for asking you to pick the wrong thing, and then bind that to the thing in the loop. Item featured media. So we're saying if this value coming in is falsy, then it'll make our thing true. So that's good. Now just stick an image inside of that if statement.
Inside of here.
And it should work. Now inside of the if statement on the left. Yeah, exactly. Just stick a normal image tag that we have inside of there.
How do I add an image?
It's the right, be the I key, or it might be the M key. It's the M key, because I opens insert, so M is for image. That'll also work. And so look at that. It only puts the image on the one that doesn't have one because of the way that we set that up. And so I would do like here's what you can do. Click on your first image. I'll show you a faster way to do this. Click on that roll video image on the left. Okay, now go up where it says class and it has the little blue dot. Right click that thing. Up. Classes. Looks like a blue dot. Right click that. Copy. No. Hit the word copy. You find out how to do it wrong no matter what I say. It's awesome. All right, click on the.
We're like 5
copy.
seconds
No,
delayed.
don't click the button.
I'm doing things before you're talking.
All right, click the image to the right of it, and then you can paste onto that one's target. Go to that one's target, and then right click it, paste.
It'll paste. It'll override whatever was already in there.
Good.
Yeah, it did.
Now, what might happen is that image is tiny, so it's not filling the space, and we have width set to auto. So just set your width to 100%, and that should fix it. Go down. Width 100%. Just type it in 100%. Here we go. Boom. All right. So you've created a. Here's what we just did. We have one image above, and that image will render if you have if there's a source. So if there's actually a source, then it will render the image. But ones that are blank, that lack a featured image, what we did on those so that you don't render the image twice, because if you didn't put that if statement around it, both images would be rendering. We said, hey, if this thing is falsy, if this value is falsy, then we want you to render this one. And the source being blank is faulty. So that's how that all works. Kind of a little bit of an advanced concept. You would be better off just actually setting a default image in the WordPress backend. But if you just wanted to have that as a failsafe, look, it's actually kind of cool because look at how advanced you can get with the logic overall pretty easily, so long as you kind of see what you're doing.
And so with these categories, I kind of follow the same. So I go all the way up to blog menu, and then I would wrap this in and I would first wrap it in data because I want to show categories. I want to list my categories up here.
Yes. So you'd pull out a data for categories.
Get first wrap in data blog menu or link. I'd probably have to delete
I would-
these first.
Well, you'd
And
want to
then-
loop your links and then wrap all of those in a data for sure. And it kind of doesn't matter that the data sort of like passes down through. So, you know, you can put it higher than you need it. It's just passing data down, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, I'm wrapping those in data. I have my data. I have my queries, I believe. And then I say, well, there's get categories, which looks right.
It's probably it.
And then
And then you need to put these stuff in the you wrapped it, so they're in the children's slot. That's good. So click on your children's slot there, twirl it open to open the contents, or you can just click on the screen, either one. And then now we should wrap that first link in a loop, because we're going to take that one and say this is the one we want. So that's going to be again Shift O or that works. And then you can delete the other one. Of course, that view all was the one that you chose to loop, and it looks more like a button. So you might want to hit undo that one and choose a different one. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I would
I'm
loop
going to
that
wrap
one.
this in a loop.
Yes.
And then
Delete all the ones you don't need.
And
All right,
then
and then on the loop, go to your loop, bind it to the data that you just got.
oh, that's my first link. Okay, loop link. Okay, so bind this to my data, which is here. Get categories.
Yeah, should be it. You have two categories and it went to 2, so that's a good sign. You can see that it says array 2. It's
Yeah.
always a good sanity check. Hey, I got 2 categories. It says 2 categories. That's how you know you're kind of bound to the right thing. Nice quick sanity check. And then let's go ahead and bind the text to these categories. So do the loop. I think that's right, wasn't it? Test? I think it's the name.
We have test and we have uncategorized.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think you should click the name, not the taxonomy.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
See? Exactly.
And of course, this is not programmed to filter these yet.
No, so to do that is going to be a bit fun, but and now that I'm thinking about it, we could start shipping blocks. This has kind of been a good exercise for me because we could ship these blocks like ready to go. There's nothing special about get categories and then getting posts in those categories and then listing it. Like every WordPress site will work that way. So we could actually have section templates that come out that have all this crap wired up for you, and they
Yes.
work.
Can we build our own templates?
There's also
Yes, you can build
So
your own
Car-
templates.
If
Check
Carson
this out.
goes through all this and he gets it exactly how he wants it, can he save that and then reuse it in other projects?
Absolutely. So check this out, Carson. Go to the whole of this thing, this whole post archive thing here,
yep,
and
there-
then hit and then right click that and then hit add to library. And then you can go to another page. And the cool thing about these data connectors being on the page is think about it this way. They don't have any dependency on the page itself. You know what I'm saying? So on this new page here, you can go to be your project. Did you?
yeah,
Yeah,
I copied
insert.
it. Insert.
No, I didn't want you to copy it. You added it to your library, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so insert and then sections. Go down to sections. And then now you have that one off of your homepage. You went right past it. It's the top. And then look, there it is in its full glory. And click that. And that's live. So when it comes on this new page, it'll be bound to your data. Click it. And it should work. And all the data should still work, hopefully. It should have. Roll this open. Try just refreshing.
Yes, categories are coming through, so we know we're getting that data.
We're getting that first row of data. I am wondering why that second one isn't.
I copied the entire
But anyways, that
section of post archive, but it
maybe
was
not.
wrapped
I
in
think we
data
did, though.
hub
It
here.
is.
No, look, this data was wrapped.
Oh,
So I had to
yeah, that's
actually
why.
probably do this.
Okay, undo the add to library on the inner one. Probably what you should have done is put the data inside the post archive. So you know what I mean. But that's okay.
How do I
It'll
delete-
still work.
How do I delete that?
No.
Okay.
No, you right click the one that you added and hit remove. To add the little icon to the right, you see that little icon that's on the right hand side? No, Carson, go to the where you right clicked it in the first place, please. No, not that one. That's not what you right clicked. Go to the one that says post archive that you right clicked. Down there that's got the little library icon to the right of it. It says post archive on it. It's above this, but below the data.
Section
There,
wrap.
right click that one. To remove that from library.
What does this indicate?
It
That little
indicates that
icon.
it's in your library.
So I deleted remove from
Yeah.
library.
Remove. Now
No longer-
right click the data itself, add that to your library, and that would have worked. So what I would recommend is if you're going to create a section and you want to make it reusable, put your data inside the section wrapper, not outside. Don't worry about it because it's fine. But now on this page, delete that whole thing and then insert with the data from your library.
Okay, insert components, sections, home. No, that wasn't it. Let me go
Just
back.
click it. It might work.
Okay,
Did you not?
I didn't click it. I was looking at the preview. So sections, home.
Click it. Just click it and see what happens.
There it is.
Okay. So what's happening is it's generating the preview off of what's outside of it. So that's like a little glitch that we need to fix. But you can see that it worked. You had created a template the first time that didn't include the data vector. And
What
so it didn't have the data when it inserted.
So if I go and change this here, is it going to change it on the first page?
No, not unless you create a component out of it. If you create a component out of all this, then it will create a part that's shared across all the pages.
That's the difference between
Yes.
section
Component and a template. Yeah.
Got it.
So I think this has been a good first video. And let's do this because I kind of need to roll, but this has been really good. And maybe we'll do another one where we kind of just keep going on this. But I think this is a good first section. I'll try to chop out some of the stuff that was just us jacking around with WP Engine and stuff. But definitely appreciate everybody for joining, and we'll do another session soon. And we'll just maybe keep going through. But yes, you can build templates and you can reuse those templates. And since the data connections are inside of those, then when you drop them on new pages, all of that prior work will just keep going.
Sweet. All right. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all. Take care.